What is going on there, Reject Nation? Greg and John here today. So, we are going to talk about that brand new announcement of that brand new Daredevil series coming to Disney Plus. Real quick, I know Jeremy Johns did a video because it showed up in my notification bell with what I'm assuming is a similar title to this one. Just for clarification purposes, I haven't watched that video. When this news broke a couple days ago, this was like, okay, if I'm going to talk about this, this is really what I'm going to want to talk about. But we've been so busy trying to get ahead. I'm also in the process of moving as well. So we didn't cover a video then. So I just want people to know we're not stealing Jeremy Johns' video here. But I'm sure we'll probably have some intersecting points.
Check my Jeremy notes.
Yeah.
That's not what he said.
No, so we shouldn't say that if Jeremy didn't say it.
Jeremy didn't say it.
But I'm sure it's better than whatever we're going to do here in this video. Yeah, I got some things I'm excited about and a good amount that I'm also concerned about. Let's just dive into it. So the first thing I think we can both agree on, John, to be excited about is the fact that our man, Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox, is going to be returning. That's been the revitalization a lot of us have really wanted, is for Charlie Cox to come back. Some people have been speculating, like, what if it's a different Daredevil? I highly doubt that's the case. He was in No Way Home. He was at that Disney event when She-Hulk debuted its trailer. They had Kingpin, Vincent D'onofrio appear in Hawkeye. I think it would just logically make sense that Matt Murdock is returning in the form of Charlie Cox, which I can't think of any other better casting than the man himself. And also, you know, Daredevil will now finally get a chance to do crossovers, you know? Who are you excited to see Daredevil possibly crossover with, John?
Oh, goodness. I mean, I want to see him on She-Hulk. I want to see Daredevil have to represent Ant-Man for something. I think that would be super fun.
You just want to see a Daredevil Marvel lawyer show.
That's right. All I wanted from the Daredevil series is more law scenes, and that's what I hope we get here, especially with the MCU being on Disney Plus and all the things we'll discuss about that later.
Well, yeah, I think that we can finally get maybe a Daredevil Spider-Man true crossover at some point, but for sure something along the lines of Moon Knight, maybe Blade. There's all the darker characters of the Marvel Cinematic Universe being introduced. Getting a chance for Daredevil to finally cross paths with them is going to be really exciting. And this also opens up the door to finally getting, you know, characters like Jessica Jones, played by Kristen Ritter, to come back.
Luke Cage, Mike Coulter.
That's right. Finn Jones!
Danny Rand! That's all people want.
That's all people really want.
And John Bernthal's Punisher, too?
Yes. Ooh, I wonder how that would be on Disney Plus. Knowing that Daredevil's coming back, that in and of itself, of course, is exciting. Now, I don't think they're gonna, you know, completely botch this, but there were things that instantly just sprung to mind the second I heard this, where I'm like, why am I not super excited about this? As excited as I ought to be. To be fair, I kind of put Daredevil on an unfair pedestal. I don't know if it's unfair. I just think Daredevil is the best Marvel TV thing to have ever existed.
I think a lot of people would agree with you.
Like, I love WandaVision. I love Loki. You know, even though I wasn't a big fan of the Moon Knight finale, I think Moon Knight was a fantastic show as well. But I still feel like Daredevil, at least season 1 and 3, are the best Marvel TV has ever done. The first concern that came to mind is, I think when people have been demanding, or at least, you know, petitioning for Daredevil to return, it's to continue the Daredevil show, to get us back on path to season 4 of Daredevil. From everything we've heard so far, and knowing that it would be on Disney Plus, I don't feel like this would be a true season 4. If anything, it's probably going to be a soft reboot of sorts. Even Charlie Cox has commented on that in the past. So firstly, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be the thing that we all really were wanting. A, because it's going on Disney Plus, and B, the original showrunners of those seasons are not going to be returning. I mean, to be fair, every season did have a different showrunner. However, when you look at the previous showrunners' works, it made sense how they could be brought onto Daredevil versus the situation here.
And you had Drew Goddard guiding a lot of things as an executive producer, too.
What we have here are these writers, Matt Corman and Chris Ord. If you look up what they've done, the most popular thing they've done is a thing called like Covert Affairs, which I have not seen any of. It sounds like it's a bit of like an espionage comedy.
Skinemax.
Is that what it is?
I'm not sure 100%, but that's just what it sounds like to me.
I actually haven't seen anything they've done, so you know, I can't really attest to their work. I was like looking on Rotten Tomatoes, and I see that a lot of their shows often have a higher audience score and a really low critic score. They seem like they're really good for like network TV realm, is where I imagine most of their sensibilities most line up. Bottom line is, if you're not getting the people back from the original seasons of Daredevil, the ones who brought the Charlie Cox rendition to life, it just feels like this is most likely going to be a very different show. And of course, it's going on Disney Plus. Now, I know Marvel has been toying with going darker as of late. Moon Knight was darker and more violent than your average Marvel Disney Plus show.
As was Doctor Strange.
As was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. They were not Netflix Daredevil R-rated, though. They did not go down that path. Like, I really admire that they're finally going there, at least, touching the borders of it. But if you guys remember a lot of people say, like, it wasn't that violent. I'm like, no, it was violent.
When it was violent, it made it count, and it made it shocking enough that you remembered those acts.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will flash to, like, Vincent D'onofrio slamming that guy's head in. And I think of, like,
prison fights.
Moments from episode 3 where the guy gets smashed to death with a bowling ball, then another guy sacrifices himself by putting his head into a spike. It is gory, it is violent, and beyond just the violence, it's also incredibly grim and gritty and
tortured,
religiously heavy. They really commit to a tone, and a big part of my concern of why they might not go all out is because it's going on Disney Plus.
So I should probably interrupt this video to say that, yes, I'm aware that they have moved Daredevil to Disney Plus. You can now stream the shows there with the proper parental settings adjusted. This case, however, is going to be billed as like a Disney Plus original show, supposedly. And with that, they're going to be wanting to promote it, getting new subscribers. Disney Plus touts itself on being like family friendly. It just seems like that if they're going to reinvent the wheel with Daredevil, they would probably have to water it down to make it more accessible to families.
B, we had the return of Kingpin, which a lot of us anticipated. A lot of us were very let down. There's a lot of folks who are going, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. It was just like one episode. He's going to come back for more, most likely. Let's just wait. Sure, I'm going to wait and see if they can make good on that promise. I was very disappointed, like very disappointed. It wasn't like, I want it to be the same thing. Like, it was just a joke to me.
Yeah, you wanted to see Kingpin in the same capacity of threat, volatile terror that you get out of Daredevil, and I think it's really indicative of the hampering that can happen when you look at that Hawkeye season finale, because the Daredevil show probably wouldn't have just done a cut to blood splat when Kingpin gets shot in the face, spoiler alert. Now we're in a universe that's going to ask us to believe the more heightened scenario that, he's going to come back from that most likely. There's a difference in the toll that the violence takes, where even if the acts of violence are a bit more harsh for the MCU as compared to before, they don't have the same stark, real-world-esque impact that the show Daredevil had. I can't imagine quite how it wouldn't feel disconnected a little bit, even though, as long as you have Charlie Cox, and I mean, there are ways to shoot things and conceive things in a ways that are thematically dark to make things feel more violent than they actually are, but at the same time, I feel like then they're going to have to really throw down on the writing of whatever show or iteration Daredevil comes back in. I think they're capable of that, but if you look at all the MCU shows thus far, a lot of them get to this point where you're like, this is really cool in a lot of ways, and it's got a lot of potential, but I feel like if you look at most of them, there are significant complaints people have that often result in, I wish this had a little more time to do more story and more flesh, and I feel like that's all the stuff that's going to bridge the gap of the intensity that will probably be, lost with this, because even Kevin Feige was touting Moon Knight as being this level up for grittiness in the MCU, but like you said, it's not that big of a level up to the point where it feels like it could approach rated R material.
Also, Daredevil, I think, too, a lot of sensuality, I would say.
Yeah.
It wasn't, they didn't go like full on nudity. I mean, the Netflix Marvel shows would broach that a little, especially Jessica Jones wasn't afraid to do that, and that was the world Charlie Cox inhabited, was the Netflix Marvel arena. It's Disney, they're gonna totally shy away from that. I have a lot of doubts based off of this. Doesn't feel like it's going to be an actual continuation. The fact that you would be bringing it back, you're setting up the audience for a certain expectation of, we are finally getting our season 4, when this is not going to be that, and you're automatically going to be compared to the 3 seasons that came before that were very much loved and demanded that this show comes back, and it's not going to be the same thing. Whether or not it's going to be as good, to be determined. But as of now, from what we've gotten as of late, while I've loved to liked pretty much most of them, Daredevil's on a whole new standard for me of what I'd be expecting. I do have my concerns. But what do you guys think? Are you guys worried at all about what they might do? Or are you just like, we'll just wait and see. We'll look out for that trailer. I mean, well, am I being too negative here? Let me know. Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that bell, hit that like button, and we will catch you all soon.